Um,
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. We're doing a series of testimonials for Inside New Zealand to help promote the seminar, and you are next in line. So thank you very much for your time. Now,
God,
to
that sounds
begin,
good. Insight New Zealand.
yes, to begin, we would like to know a little bit more about you, yourself, what you do, where you are, what do you do, or when did you take your insight first?
A long story, but I think I know because I'm 60 something, I know how to summarize that. So in 1985, I did Insight One in California at the 2101 building. In 1986, I did Insight Two, and that was it. It was over. I did Insight One and Two again, and then I got on discourses, and from then I took off and got to live and work with the founder of MSIA and Insight, John Roger. Uh, but I'll go back when I was 16 years old. There was a guy called David Hubbard at the time. He's David Rayner now. He's a facilitator. And he was doing teen insight. I didn't know what any of that was, but it scared me about how open and loving things could be in my life. And I went over to then Lee Taylor Young's home. I didn't know that. And it's Joey and David having kind of like a powwow of teens, and they're all sharing, teen insight or insight sharings. And I thought, man, what is this? This is like incredible. It was like scary. And I went off and did things in the movie business, my life. But then I came back, and by 86, probably 6 years later, I was uh, in an insight seminar, and it was unbelievable. It just blew me away. I didn't quite get it. I was just, Russell Bishop did my one, and this other guy did my one, George Campanelli, and then Terry Tillman did my two, and that was it. The tools, and just recently, Sunday. So today is Tuesday, you're Wednesday. On Sunday, last Sunday, there was a graduation for the first time. I'm learning to facilitate, and I teach Insight Fours. I do 2 days in the Insight Four. It's like my ninth Insight Four. I'll be going to Bulgaria this summer. So my promotion to all of you guys is get out there and get to four. Insight Four is amazing. But the foundation of everything is in Insight One. It all begins in Insight One. And in the words of JR, if you really did Insight One, you wouldn't need to do anything else because Insight One is where you really, if you did Insight One 100%, you'd be like, wow. And the tools that you would have for the world, and really for your own beingness are it's there's nothing better. And the most important thing of insight for me is how JR really made it about the heart. Russell Bishop created insight as well. And they really found, in particular, JR was about loving in the heart. And Russell knew it was like, that's the way to go. Because these are kind of personal development type trainings. But this has something that no other training has. That's what makes us unique, is that we basically going into the heart, demol you know, doing demolition on the walls that you build up,
Yep.
and boom.
Jesus. So, Jesus, thank you for that. We're gonna move on to the general questions, right? So, what expectations did you have before attending your first Insight One?
What expectations did I have?
That's right.
That's over 30 years ago. What I had was I had no idea, but but I did I did want to get out of. I wasn't happy with my life the way it was going. It was just very ordinary and playing small.
Mhm.
And I had and across when I was doing Insight before I did it, across the hall was Tony Robbins doing Walking on Fire. And I did that for 2 days and came back to Insight and I was even more on fire. So I wanted to keep breaking the fear, the of unknown. I had no idea what the heck I was getting involved in, but expectations, uh, I had more of an intention. I knew I wanted to change what I was doing because it wasn't working.
Mhm.
And Insight was kind of, they weren't promising. Everyone was talking about it. This is the way to change what's not working for you in your life.
Was there any activity or part of the seminar, any exercise that particularly impacted you or something more memorable during the seminar?
Yeah, the best thing about the seminar was the accountability. The there's stuff I can't divulge because there's going to be a lot of surprise modules that people put you through. But one of the biggest thing I got was I'm I'm accountable to everything I did in my life to get me to this point. And it immediately moved me out of being a victim. And uh, something about owning it makes things better, move forward in your life a lot better. And also intention versus methodology,
Yeah. Yes.
doing getting intentions first down. Everyone's talking about, I don't know if I have the money. I don't have a ticket. How am I going to get to New York? What if I don't have the right time? So it's like intention is if, and that's what I had. I had an intention to change my life, and nothing was going to get in the way. So
Um, that's that's very good and useful for creating the life you want, isn't it? Is there a, a benefit that you think you gain by participating in the seminar, specifically Insight seminar, to I'll edit that bit, so just forget about what I said. Did you have the opportunity to make valuable connections during the seminar? How have these connections influenced your career?
okay, so there's the one thing that Insight offered me that is significant was opening my heart. And the heart, I was able to drop my judgments, move into forgiveness, and that has opened my career. That never, Insight was a foundation for me to understand what makes a career and doesn't make a career. And that
Mhm.
is judging, judging yourself and mistreating yourself in the slightest way of, you know, chatter, talk. And there's many tools in the Insight that bring the awareness. That's the other key thing that Insight brings is the awareness. The awareness is curative. Fritz Perl. Awareness is curative. So imagine you're going along life and all of a sudden you wake up and you're able to avoid the same potholes that you fall into. Oh my God, I'll stop doing that. And the career, you can have anything in your life. You just got to have it. You got to Insight in its creation really worked on finding tools that are universal tools. They're out there in the world,
Mhm.
but it's the best one was the opening of the heart. and that's what it's called, awakening of the heart or the power of the heart. Uh, you close down your heart, you won't have much of a career. So it doesn't matter. I know a lot of rich people and career people, and they're miserable. But imagine if you could have it, you can have it all. You could have the career, you've made the connections because what? You're lovely to be around. People love being with you, or you love people. There's a loving nature in it. That's what makes insight powerful.
Oh,
So
thank you. Yes, it is. And when you start loving yourself, it obviously reflects outside
the
as
big,
well, and that's key
the big,
why the
the
seminar
big
does
key,
this.
the big key.
Um,
Loving yourself where you are right now is the beginning of change, but not hating yourself. I need to go somewhere else. It's like,
so if you had to invite someone to come along to the seminar that is going to happen on the Labor Weekend here in New Zealand on the 24th to 27th of October, will that be, what advice would you give them if they are considering attending for the first time?
put your seatbelt on, buckle up. If you want change, you gotta do it. You gotta pay for it. You wanna change is done in an uncomfortable. So if I drew you a circle and there's a comfort zone, change is outside the comfort zone. I'll do a reversal. You don't want to change. You don't want to do anything in your life. Don't do insight. You
Yeah,
want to do something, do insight. See what
yeah.
it is. John Roger always said, check it out, the founder. Always check it out. Don't believe me. Don't believe Jsu García. But, seriously, you want change? Go do it. Millions of people have done insight. It's been tested. It's been around since 1978.
45 years,
It's
isn't it?
and 45 years. We get teenagers. We get old ladies, old men. It is a never-ending story. It's not like you take it and you got it. You have to take it and use it.
And
And the train,
just on, because you obviously have a wealth of experience with this, you've been part of the Insight Seminar since the 80s. What is the latest or oldest person you've seen on a seminar? I remember I assisted in Peru someone who was 78 and she was just beaming and so happy to be there. So I have heard people saying, "Look, I'm too old for this." What do you have to say for them?
that's not, yeah, it doesn't, age has nothing to do with it. Age is what's going to kill you because the way you think things are, thinking and feeling, I think it's like this. It's never going to change. Your jadedness, age, and the way this mind works is what's going to kill us. So you have 80-year-olds. I have a good friend, Birdie. She assists. She's been assisting since 1978 when she first took it.
Wow.
She shows up and she's constantly working her affirmation. It's not like you do it, insight's not a pill and oh my God, I'm healed. Insight is like you've taken the red and blue pill. Remember Matrix? New Zealand, you guys remember that? Australia. The Matrix. You took a pill that made you see something that you haven't been seeing. You see something that you're aware, oh my God, I do this. But you have to keep practicing because you can go to sleep again. It awakens you. Like Russell's more eloquent than I am, but it's awakening of the heart. Well, what was awake? Something that was asleep. So our hearts sleep and wake up, sleep and wake up. Insight is a constant reminder, wake up, wake up,
All
get
right.
into your
No,
loving, get it.
thank you very much, Jesus. I'm gonna wrap it up. And we would be posting this um on our social media. Thank you very much for your time.